Alrighty. Welcome back, everyone. How we doing? Morning, morning, morning. To all the familiar faces. Welcome back. Does anyone else fall asleep without their phone on the charger every single night? Because I do that every single night. And my phone is dead every single morning. I literally cannot stop doing it. I don't know what it is. Morning, everyone. How we doing? Morning, morning. Most nights. Never, Anna? I do it every day. When's the coffee shop opening? I don't know, man. Soon. I gotta find a location. That's really it. I gotta find the right location. I gotta find the location. That's gonna be the key. I bought a espresso machine for Black Friday, so I'm gonna start becoming a barista. Got the legit machine, make the actual grinds and do all the barista things. So that should be fun. Member for 15 months, chef. Wow, and 50 months isn't going to count. Last check 100 months. Frank, cannot believe it. I appreciate that, chef. Thank you for all the support, man. As always. All right, guys. Well, welcome back. Hope everyone's having a good morning. Hopefully you guys are caffeinated, ready to go. Hopefully you guys had a decent day yesterday. Yesterday was a little bit of a interesting morning. It was a pretty slow day, pretty slow upside move, right into that 16.1 supply, right into that ES 4570 supply, and just the rejection, right? That was pretty much the only trade that I took yesterday. Was I basically waited and waited and waited and waited for the rejection up there at 16.1 and 4570. If you guys were part of the Discord yesterday, you heard me basically just sit in shorts pretty much all morning as we started to approach that supply, and eventually got paid off. So slow day, very painful to watch, pretty much all morning. Straight upside, not straight upside, but slow grinding upside into supply with low volume, and that was really what made me interested for that supply rejection. Caught it nicely with some Tesla, with some Google, with some Meta, with some NVIDIA. So got a nice piece, but man, was it a slow and painful, excruciating move. Really not something I like to be a part of too much because I had to sit around for basically 2 hours, 3 hours for that to eventually work out, which was just really just not something I enjoy. So it was good. The plan was right. But yeah, the way the price action has been in this channel has been really tired and really slow. So I'm going to continue to expect more of the same because the ES and NASDAQ guys are still in this channel. We have not broken out of this channel. We are continuing to trade in this sideways action. And really all we can do at this point is short the supplies along the demands. That's really the only trade that's available as of right now. So we'll review it. We'll review the levels again on the NASDAQ, on the ES, the levels that rejected yesterday, the levels that are attempting to hold this morning, and just do our best to prepare for this sort of channeling trade, which is tough, but right, this is very important, right? We need to understand the market environment. We cannot trade for big continuation moves if that is not what the market is providing, right? That's very important. We have to be able to adjust our expectations, and we need to make sure our expectations right now are quick moves, quick profits, not continuation, right? Because that is not what the market is showing. So let's go to the schedule. Nothing really on the earnings side. We talked about that yesterday. There is CrowdStrike tonight. That's really the only thing. CrowdStrike tonight. We'll go to the economic calendar. Pull that up real quick. Get a refresher of what we have this week. Today, we do have consumer confidence at 10 o'clock. So here is the economic calendar for this week. Today, we have consumer confidence at 10 o'clock. We'll see if there's a little bit of movement there at 10 o'clock today. Maybe it'll wake some stuff up. So 10 o'clock, consumer confidence. A lot of Fed presidents speaking today, pretty much peppered all throughout the day. Right, 10 o'clock, 10:05, 10:45, 1:05, 3:30. A lot of Fed presidents speaking. Tomorrow, GDP, 8:30 tomorrow morning, 8:30. Thursday, PCE, unemployment, OPEC. And then Friday, we have Powell speaking at 11 o'clock. But, man, do I hope I'm not around at 11 o'clock on a Friday. I hope that we find something real quick on Friday and get out. So today, really the only thing to watch is the 10 o'clock consumer confidence. We did see a little bit of movement on the bond auctions yesterday. So around 1 o'clock yesterday, we did get a little bit of volatility on the bond auction. So that was right here. You can see that increase in volume. So right here, you saw a little bit of a pop, right, into supply and then the ultimate rejection. 1 o'clock did provide a little bit of volume. So let's go ahead and pull up that bond auction one more time because it did provide a little bit of a volatility move. So it is something that I want to continue to make sure that we are aware of here. So today is the 28th, and we do have the 7-year note at 1 o'clock today and the 52-week bill at 1 o'clock today as well. So we could, again, see a little bit of volatility around 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. Eastern today. So just be aware of that. Be aware of that potential volatility. We did see a little bit of volatility come in here yesterday on the 2-year note and the 5-year note. So just be aware of that, right? Just being aware of everything that's on the market, making sure we're not blindsided by anything. Today, 1 o'clock, you do have the 52-week and the 7-year note that is going to be, the auction for that today. All right? So 1 o'clock, make sure you're aware of that. All right? Let's continue. Tesla, another nice hold of demand down at that 231, 232. NVIDIA, 480 supply, something I'm watching today. Microsoft was tried to get over that 380 yesterday, but got stuck. Something to be watching there. Apple, 191. Meta, 340. This was probably the best trade of the day. Meta did get a little bit of news midday, but that 340 rejection that we shorted yesterday was beautiful. This was probably the cleanest trade of the day. I'll review that one. Amazon staying strong, and then Roku. Roku's been on a little bit of a squeezer. Roku got above some big supply yesterday, 96, 98 zone. So now we're looking for the retest. Very, very interesting level to be watching there on Roku, waiting for that retest. So that's the schedule today. Brian, buenos dias from Isla Mujeres. Very nice. One of my favorite islands, man. Definitely one of my favorite islands. I want to go back big time. I want to go back. So that was a fun vacation there. Everyone, I recommend going there, man. If you guys go to Cancun at all, go a little bit further off the coast. Go to Isla Mujeres. It's a great time. Really cool island. All right, let's continue. Let's do it. Charts. NASDAQ futures. So what did we get yesterday? Pretty much all we did was slowly grind higher into our supply, guys. And that really was the only trade that I took yesterday. I could not get myself to long yesterday. I didn't take a single long trade yesterday. I just could not get myself to long in low volume, slow upside into this supply. It just was not something I was going to get behind. I was pretty much locked in on the idea of us slowly moving higher into these supply highs, which we have seen reject. And that is pretty much the trades that I took. So If you guys were part of the group yesterday, you heard me stay pretty much set on my idea of us rejecting this supply, and it worked out really nicely. We took some SPY puts. We took some, puts across the board up towards the supply level, and that worked out really well. Really just a channel trade, right? Nothing too fancy about it. Just trusting that supply above and waiting for that eventual reaction, which we got nicely. Now today, we're watching this 15,940, right? We can see the market's a little bit weak this morning to open, right? We're getting a little bit of downside off that 16,000 supply, and you can see we're moving down into that demand. So this is going to be our big watch today, this 15,940, this low here, these lows here, the previous highs here, right? The pre-market low that came in already this morning, and we're coming down into that level right now. So if we go to the 15-minute chart, and we zoom in into this morning's price action, you guys can see, right? This was yesterday, right? We got our push. We got our supply rejection. We went to 16,000 in the pre-market. We rejected 16,000, right? I'm actually going to move this up a little bit. Actually, no, I'm going to leave it at 16. It went a little bit north of 16. Maybe you can do something like this. 16,014 is like where it's sort of rejected there. You can see right in that area, right? 16,014, 16,014, 16,014. So we know, right, if we come back into that level, then we need to be careful of that potential rejection again after seeing what's happened here in the pre-market, right? So we have that big supply at 16.1. We have that 16,000 sort of middle of the road level. And then we have this demand, which stepped up between, Monday morning, yesterday morning, right? You can see we stepped up there, right? That's also the same level we stepped up back here, right? That's around this 15,940 level. So today, right, if we start to see something like this, if we break this low and start to reject, right, that could be the break of this little channel here. That could provide us some short side opportunities, possibly down into this 850 zone. So that is definitely my first watch this morning as we move lower. I will be all eyes on whether the NASDAQ futures can break below this 15,940 level, right? Start to turn it into a rejection and potentially look for that short side play. Now, this is where you could get messed up, right? And this is where you really need to wait for confirmation because you're getting an aggressive downside move, but you are still above that 15,940 this morning. So is there a chance that the NASDAQ futures does something like this again? Yes, absolutely, right? And so if you start to short too early here and you start to short into these lows and you start to short into these lows, right? And you start to short into these lows and you start to short into these lows, right? You could be exposing yourself to this, and possibly to this again, right? So, yeah, we're moving down right now. Yes, we're getting some aggressive downside, and absolutely will I be looking for the break and hold below. But that does not mean that I am going to front run the short side, start shorting into demand here, and get potentially bounced on, right? That's not what I'm planning to do today. So we have to be very cautious down here. We need to be aware that we are moving into demand as we speak, right? We can see we are still above that demand low, right? And we could see some wick action down here that could fake us out if we are shorting before it actually breaks, right? So we have to really wait for this to break and hold below to catch that short side play. We do not want to front run the shorts and get stuck into some type of a demand hold once again. So today, you're watching this low, this 15,940. You're keeping your eyes on that low. You're monitoring whether you start to see wicks, right, which you're actually starting to see right now. Do you start to see wick demand holds here? Do we get a little bit of a demand bounce again, right? Maybe back into that 16,000. Or do we finally get the breakdown and the hold below and the short side play? So that's what I'm watching today, right? Very clear. You can see the lows. You can see the demand. You can see the supply, right? And all you're watching is what happens here, right? And what happens here. And that's really the trade that you're going to have to be monitoring today, right? And if you do catch a long off this low, right, you're taking profits into that high. You're not staying, you're not overstaying your welcome. You're not hoping for new all-time highs, right? This is a channel, and you have to be precise. And so if you do long this low and you do catch a little bit of a demand bounce, profit taking on the way higher, right? And understanding that we're still in a channel is very important. So 15,940, 16,000, 16,013. Those are the NASDAQ levels that I'm watching. Let's go to the QQQ. You guys can see right here, the QQQ. I'm going to go into the 30-minute chart. We still have, right? We still have some demand below to be aware of. And so we can see this is that 16,000 level on the NASDAQ futures. It's a little bit more sloppy on the QQQ, which again is another reason why I really like watching the NASDAQ futures over the QQQ ETF. But really, if I delete those middle of the road levels, this is the main channel, right? This is the main high and main low to be watching. We can see the 387 level, right here, 387. Maybe it's a little bit higher around this 387.50. So I would sort of be watching that whole area as we approach the 387. We can see general demand here. We can see those demand lows that stepped up here. We can see as we approach 387, we start to see some demand stepping up. So if you're watching the QQQ today, I would be careful on the short side into 387, right? 387 could be another just demand bounce in the channel. It could very well just bounce here, like it bounced here, like it bounced here, right? And like it previously rejected right here. This could again turn into a demand. And if you start to short before you break below that 387, you are potentially exposing yourself to a demand bounce. It's not manipulation. It's not bullshit. It's just a demand bounce. So be careful if you're shorting into 387. That could provide that bounce again that you want to be aware of as we trade in this channel, right? It looks like that sort of rejection area that we should be watching today is around this 389, 389.30. You guys can see right here. This is sort of that rejection area that is happening in the pre-market. So right there around 389.40, I'm going to turn that red, right? Why am I watching that level? Well, if I go down to the shorter term time frames and I go to the 5-minute chart, we can very clearly see the rejections that are stepping up this morning in the pre-market. Rejection, rejection, rejection. That is equal to that NASDAQ 16,013 area, right? Rejection, rejection, rejection on the NASDAQ futures. Well, let's line that up with the QQQ. And that's stepping in right here, right? 389.40, 389.40, 389.40. So, going to be watching that on the QQQ. That's very clear, right? Our demand is down at 387. This is our channel that we're watching today. Channel high, channel low, right? And we're playing the levels, all right? ES. So the ES sort of slowly pushed into our supply again yesterday and rejected, right? Very clear, very clean, really nothing too out of the ordinary. You guys can see right here, if I go down to the ES 30-minute chart, all we did yesterday was sort of have this slow, low volume push into supply, into our zone, right? The zone that we've had on our charts, and we rejected it. And so yesterday, we took some SPY puts in the group, which resulted in a very nice little 45% trade. That was a beautiful trade yesterday. We started to enter the shorts up in here, right, as we were sort of rejecting our supply, and we took advantage of this drop here midday. We got this drop right here, which resulted in a very nice downside trade. That was really the only trade on the SPY yesterday for me. Besides that, right, all we're really doing here, if we zoom out, is a very nice rejection of 45.70, right? That supply, very clear. Now, we can see we did drop these lows on the ES, so it's getting a little bit weak, right? This 45, it's a little bit of a tough zone. It's around like 45.53, right? We can see. I'm probably going to delete that off my charts today because really the main channel here that I need to be focused on is more of, right, this 45.70 to this 45.40. Right, this is really the range right here to be aware of. It's around a 30-point range, 45.70, right, to 45.40. 45.40 is this demand low, right? This is the previous high, double top high. Here's a high, here's a high, here's a low. So if we move lower today, what are we watching, right? We're cautious of a demand hold at 45.40 today, right? We're cautious of shorting into these lows, right? We don't want to be shorts at the lows. Where did I short yesterday on the ES? I started to enter shorts up at the 45.70, right? So you can see right here, this is where we started to enter shorts. You guys can see right here, around 1:21 p.m. yesterday. Took a little SPY put here, looking to play this 456 supply as we grind into it. A little bit of a fight against the trend today, but I still love this supply potential up here. Volume continues to dry up as we move higher, right? And so this was the chart, right? This was the NASDAQ chart. You can see we were pushing into that 16.1, and this was the trade right here, about a $583 trade, about a 45% trade on the SPY puts yesterday. And that was pretty much just taking puts as we were pushing into that supply, right? So that was yesterday, right? And so today, what are we doing? We're doing the same damn thing. 45.40 demand, 45.70 supply. I would only look to trade up at the top of the channel or the bottom of the channel. I would be very careful getting involved in the middle, right? I'd be careful getting involved in the middle. So 45.40 to 45.70 today, guys. Those are your large channel. That's your large channel high and channel low. Here's the SPY, right? We can see yesterday we sort of slid towards that 456 supply. We got the rejection. That was the trade we took, right? That was our supply high up here, which rejected again. It looks like we're sort of breaking this previous low around this 453.75, which is actually pretty important here, right? We can see we have this previous low, we have these previous highs, which we're breaking right now. So if we stay below that, right, if we stay below that 453.75, then I would assume that we try this 452 demand, right? That's really the next level on the SPY is this previous high, and this previous demand low. That's at 452 on the SPY. So if we continue to see weakness today, I think it's possible to trade a short, right, into that 452. I think that's very possible, right? If we see some rejections at this previous low, if we go down to the 5-minute chart here, if we start to see some rejections at the previous lows here, at the previous lows here, right, and maybe at the previous lows from Wednesday of last week, if we start to see rejections in this 453.75, I'm actually going to call it up to 454 here, right? And I'm going to turn this red. Why is that? Okay, there we go. I'm going to make this red at 454, and I'm just going to be aware of a bounce back into that low, right? So if the SPY bounces back into this low, if it bounces back into this low, if it bounces back into this low, if I start to see something like this today, right, and I start to see 454 turn into a rejection, then I might be able to catch that short and that continuation to the downside. So on the SPY today, 454, I'm going to go to the 15-minute chart here. I'm going to say it's around 454, right? That's your potential rejection level. 452 demand. And then, of course, the channel high, 456, right? That's really what I'm watching today. All right, so that's the futures. Let's jump into Tesla. Tesla yesterday pretty much did nothing. All Tesla did yesterday was drop into demand, hold the demand, and pretty much end the day flat. So we can see right here, this is Tesla 5-minute chart over the last few trading days. And so we can see once again that demand low held again. So if you did catch Tesla longs yesterday towards that 232 demand, well done. Nice trade. Nice push back to the upside off that demand low. Where did we reject? We rejected right there at the 238 and the 50 SMA as we were approaching it. So 238 supply, you can see it's rejecting again here. 232 demand. What does Tesla do today? Tesla probably, once again, messes around sort of in this channel. I would not be surprised to see Tesla. I would sort of map this out as well here. This 235 area could be interesting, right? You can see this low here. You can see this consolidation here. So you could watch a little bit of 235, 235.70, 235 zone. I think that could be a little bit of a short-term zone to watch. But overall, guys, right, I would be careful being long into 238, right? And I would be careful being short into 231. And the only way I would trade Tesla is either a short here. I would look for a long here, right? I would only trade at the channel high, channel low. Trading Tesla in the middle is going to be painful, right? Trading Tesla in the middle of this channel is going to be painful. I would wait for channel levels to react. And so for today, I would be watching this 238 supply. You can see right here, 238 supply. I would be watching that, right? I'd look for maybe a little something like this. Once again, see if that sets up. If you get above that 238, then I would be watching 240, right? If you get above 238, I would be watching these lows here at 240. So 238, 240, same levels as yesterday. And then to the downside, I would be watching the demand, of course, once again, at 231, right? Why? Because look at what it did yesterday after the straight down move. Straight down, demand hold, pop back up, right? So 238, 240, and 230, 231, 232. Those are the levels I'd be watching. NVIDIA. So NVIDIA has created a little bit of a, I think a new level here, which I am very interested in. That's 485, right? Look at this 485 level on NVIDIA here. You can see right here, 485 and 485. So what am I going to be watching today? I'm going to look to see if NVIDIA pushes into that 485 again, and I'm going to be eyeing to see whether that turns into another rejection, maybe a triple top, right? Something that I can be watching to potentially trade off of is that 485 supply. You can see right here, 485, 485, and you can see a little bit of a rejection there this morning. So if we push into that 485 today, I am going to be eyeing whether that turns into a rejection point, and if it does, and if the NASDAQ is weak, if the ES is weak, right, then I'll look to see if that's a short. If we get above that 485 and we hold above it, right, then that's going to set us up for a move into our 490, right, because that's going to be a break and hold above the double top highs. If we get something along those lines, then we're going to move up into this 490 level, all right? So 485 is really a big level to watch today. Does 485 reject, or does 485 turn into a new support? That is going to be the watch. Do you get this? Or do you get this, right? That's going to be my big watch today on NVIDIA. If you do get that rejection, maybe we can get a move back down to that 480. Maybe we can even get it back down into that 475, right? That would be a little bit of a wishful thinking, right? To get it all the way moved down to that channel low. But if the market's weak and we get a nasty rejection here, it's very possible. So 485, 490, 475, very clear levels there on NVIDIA. Let's keep an eye on that. Microsoft. So yesterday we were talking about that 380, right? 380, we got a little bit of a poke above it, right? But it could not hold. And so if I go to the 5-minute chart here, or I'll go to the 1-minute chart, you guys can see if we zoom in here, 380, it tried, right? It tried to break and sort of push and continue higher above it. But this is around the time right here that the NASDAQ was hitting supply, all right? So you got a little bit of a move above 380, fell back below, rejected it, tried it again, rejected it, and after falling back under supply, right? If you go from above supply to back below supply, right, and you start to turn it into rejections again, that's going to show weakness, right? That's going to give you an idea of weakness. That's pretty much exactly what happened. So you tried it, right? The bulls, the buyers could not hold it above. We did not get a solid hold here. We fell back below. And that's pretty much the rest, that's sort of showing you the whole story there. If we go to the 30-minute chart now, what we can see is that 380 level is absolutely still a tough level for Microsoft to get above. So if I see another push into 380 today, what am I going to be looking for? I'm going to be looking to see if that rejection steps in again, right? Why not? It rejected here. It did it again here. It did it again here. And it did it again yesterday. So I'll be watching to see, hey, if Microsoft is at 380, let me start to watch to see if there's some rejections there. Can I play that fade if the market is showing weakness? If we do get a solid hold above it, right, at any point in the future, then I would absolutely be looking for that long. If we do get a solid hold above it, maybe for more than just, I would probably want to see us hold above it and close above it, right? After seeing the break and the fail to maintain above, now I should require myself to wait for a really strong hold and maybe a close above 380, right? If we get a close of day above that 380, then things could change, and then we can look long on Microsoft there over 380. But until then, 380 supply, I would say around this 375 demand, right? I think that's probably where you're trying to hold up. You can see 375, 375. So that's probably a demand level to be paying attention to. And then after 375, you got all these previous highs here around this 373.50. That's all right here. Previous high, previous high, previous low, previous high. So I would be watching demand at 375. I'd be watching demand at 373.50. And then I'd be watching supply at 380, right? All right. Let's go to Apple. So Apple, I think Apple is going to be a really shitty trade here, guys. I'd probably retire Apple for the time being. Because Apple is likely going to trade between this 188.80, right, this low here, this 188.80, and this 191 supply for a pretty extended period of time, right? I'd expect Apple to probably do this dance for some time. And so I would be careful trading Apple, right? If you're going to trade Apple, it's got to be with really low expectations for continuation. I would maybe look for that 191 supply trade. I would look for maybe this 188.80 demand trade, right? But besides that, I would not be getting involved in Apple in the middle of this channel, right? Apple is a nightmare in here. Option contracts are not going to give you any kind of movement, right? If you're trading Apple at the 50% retracement of this channel here, you're going to get absolutely chopped alive. It's going to be painful to watch. So be careful on Apple, right? I would look for that 191 supply. I think this is an interesting sort of break and fail back below, right? We can see that 191 supply and the rejection there again yesterday. So I would watch to see if we can get that rejection play, right? I would watch to see if we can get that demand play for maybe a short-term scalp. I would also look to see if we can reclaim 191, right, for a long here above that level. But I would only want to make my decisions here, right, and here. I would not want to be getting myself involved in Apple in the middle of this channel. So just a forewarning there. Make sure you're understanding of what Apple's doing right now. I want to go into AMD real quick because this is pretty much the same story as Apple. So you guys can very clearly see, right? Where is AMD? What is it doing? Well, we can see how tight of a range this is. 121.50, that's our demand that we were talking about yesterday. Ended up creating a nice little long opportunity. So well done if you caught that, right? And then our supply highs at this 123.75. Let's just call it, maybe we just call it 124 to be safe, right? 124, 123.75, right? That's really that supply high. We can see those rejections up there. You shouldn't have reminded me, Mario. So 124, right? You can see right here. That's that supply high, 124. Demand lows, 121.50. What is AMD doing? It is simply trading between a channel, right? So what do you look for? How do you trade this? Well, if you want to trade AMD, you better look for longs here, right? And you better be looking for shorts here. If you're doing the inverse, you've lost longing here, you've lost shorting here, you've lost longing here, you've lost shorting here, you've lost longing here, you've lost shorting here, right? If you're going to trade AMD, you better have the channel mindset or you're going to lose money, right? There's going to be one time, and it'll happen, but that's okay because it's the less likely trade, right? There's going to be one time where you short here, right? And maybe AMD breaks out, right? That will happen. If you're trading a channel, that is bound to happen at some point in your trading, right? But that does not mean, hey, I blow up my account if that happens, right? I don't think most people, I don't know if they can get behind that idea, right? Most people, will, maybe they'll try that short. Maybe it'll break out, right? I'm not saying most, but, maybe newer traders that don't have their risk management under control and their mindset under control. If you're going to short AMD, right, you're going to want to short up here. But hey, there's going to be a time where AMD squeezes through, right? It's going to happen at some point. This is where you take your loss, you understand that the channel broke, and you move forward, right? Because you're trading with proper size, you're trading with a stop loss, and hey, AMD broke above, I take my loss, I move forward. It's just another attempt, and unfortunately, this one was wrong, right? What you don't do, right, is see AMD break above, you add to your position, you hope and pray, it continues higher, you keep adding, you say it's bullshit, this is fucked up, AMD's bullshit, I can't believe it's going higher, and then your account's gone, right? That's not trading, right? That's not trading. But the trade that's valid here, whether you're right or wrong, right, is the short here, right, and the long here. And so at one point, right, over the last few trading days, it's been a profitable trade, right? Fading that high, longing that low, right? It's been a great trade, and it might continue to be. But you guys need to understand at some point, right, it's going to break, right? Or it's going to break above, right? And if you're in that trade, yeah, it'll be a loss. But that's fine, right? That's fine. It's a loss. It's a trading loss. And that's normal stuff, right? There's nothing wrong with me, taking a long here, right? And being wrong and, having to cut my trade. That's going to be the story of trading, right? That is what we hear. That's what we're here for. So let's watch that 121.50. Let's watch that 124. Let's try to make educated trades off of it. And if we unfortunately are on the wrong side of it one time, take your loss, move on. There will be another trade, right? So Meta, let's go into Meta. This was probably the sexiest trade of the day. I mean, what a beautiful, beautiful rejection this was. So you guys know we had that 340 level mapped out yesterday. Let me go to, I'm going to sort of show you guys what this looked like before the fact, because it was a beauty. It was a beauty. So let me go to this. Let me go to this. If you guys could, while I take a second break here, if you guys could be so kind, press that like button, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Help me to continue to grow the channel. Help me to continue to grow the momentum, the violence, the speed, the momentum on the channel. That would be very nice, very appreciative. So here's where we started to get interested in Meta yesterday. You guys can see right here. Actually, Noah Lucas, good call out there, man. Anyone looking at this on Meta. And so we were sort of watching this here, right? Here's Meta. You can see we were trading higher, right? Right into that 340 supply. So you can see right here, right? Pushed down, 336 demand held nicely yesterday. Pushed to the upside towards that 340 supply, right? Noah was watching that as well. And then this is where I started to get short, right? Right here. I was short Meta. You can see right here with this little supply at 340. I was short Nvidia and I was short Tesla, right? So right here, Meta, short into that 340 supply, and bam, just a beautiful, beautiful supply rejection. So that one worked out really nicely. A little bit of a news catalyst on your side in this case, but hey, the supply worked out great, right? So 340, 340, 340, 340, another push into it, and another beautiful rejection. Now, intraday, right? Look at the 336. What happened at the 336? Look at this, right? Look at the 336 yesterday. We broke below it. We came back up to it. We rejected it. We moved lower, right? So now, if we go to the 30-minute chart, right? Let's take a look at Meta after that move lower. So you are now at the demand low, right? You are at the demand, you're at that previous high, you're at these lows here, right? The demand held right here. Look at where Meta is sitting at today. It's at the 332 level, 332.40. So that short is now, that's over, right? So what do you look for now on Meta to take new shorts? You wait for the pop and the rejection of 340. The same thing that you waited for yesterday, right? 340, pop, rejection, that's your short entry. Why not look for the same thing today? Look for the pop into supply and the rejection, right? Don't short it at the lows. Shorting Meta yesterday at 336 yesterday morning, you lost a shitload of money. But where was the short, right? At the supply high. So today, what am I looking for? I'm looking for Meta to pop. I'm looking for it to show rejections at 336, and then I'm looking to fade that move again, right? Same exact concept. If we break under this 332, right, and we turn this into rejections, then maybe there's a short down into that 328. But I would rather get the pop first into that supply at 336, all right? Hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's continue. Amazon and Roku. Amazon and Roku. So here's Amazon. Amazon continuing to stay relatively strong, but it's starting to sort of break down into this demand again. You guys can see right here. Here is this was that previous high we were talking about, right? Right here, that previous high. That's 146.50. Now look at where Amazon is back at, right? Amazon is back at that demand low right here, right this morning. So you can see right here, previous high, right? Here's your low, and here's your low. And where are you trading at today? 146.50. So what am I going to be watching today? Well, I'm going to be watching to see, does Amazon break and hold below 146.50, right, for a short? Does Amazon create another demand low here for a potential long, right, at 146.50? Or does Amazon, right, push into this supply high at 148 again, and does it turn it into a rejection at 148, right? Why 148? Well, if I go to the 5-minute chart, you can see this, right? You can see this, right? Very clear there. You can see how we broke below it and rejected it, right? So very clear there. And on top of that, that is this wick high, right, at 148.10. So if we do get a bounce today on Amazon, I'll be watching that 148.10 for potential supply rejections, right up there. Or I will look for that break and hold below, right, at 146.50. You could look for the long into that level. And the last one you could look for, right, is the break and hold back above 148 for that long once again. Okay? So very clear levels there on Amazon, 148.10, 148, and then that 146.50. Very clear there. We'll go to Google real quick because I did take a trade on Google yesterday. What trade did I take on Google yesterday? I just shorted the 139 supply. The exact supply that we talked about yesterday. We can go to the 5-minute chart. Google popped into that 139 supply, and I started to enter shorts as we were getting rejections, right? What did I do? I simply traded my levels, right? That's all I did. I saw Google popping into a known supply level here, right? Here, right? And I saw us pushing into that 139. I started to spot some rejections. If I go to the 5-minute, right? I can very clearly start to see some weakness here. I start to see some rejection stepping in, right? And so I saw that, I saw that weakness. I entered my shorts. I played my level. I had a stop over 139, and that's it, right? And that's it. So very nice trade there. Very clean Google downside play off the 139 supply. Where are we at today? We're back at the demand lows, 137.50. So what do we watch here? We do the same damn thing, guys. 139 supply, 137.50 demand, right? And we look to see if it breaks or holds above. Very nice there. All right, so the big boy from yesterday, the big squeezer, the juicer, as XQC. I don't know if you guys watch XQC, but the juicers, Roku. Look at that 96 hold yesterday, man. I did not realize that intraday yesterday, but beautiful double bottom at 96. I mean, damn. That is very nice there. That was our channel. Look at that 96 previous high, right? Look at how clean that is. If we go to the 5-minute chart and we get a little bit more time, let me get a little bit more time here. Look at how clean this 96 hold is yesterday. You have a 96 previous high, right? That was our supply high. 96 previous high there on Friday of last week. and look at that hold, man. That is sexy stuff. So 96 previous high. If we go down into that 1 minute chart, look at that hold right above that previous high yesterday morning. Sexy double bottom, nice long opportunity. Bam, squeezer, really nice move. Now, if you try to long Roku now, you're simply a chaser, right? And that is, you have to put that on your forehead, right? If you're longing Roku today, you put it on your forehead, you accept your fate, right? That's up to you. You can decide to do that, or you can decide to wait for the proper trade, which is a retest of this 98 level, right? A retest of the 96, right? Or the 98 previous highs. That is what you're waiting for. You will get it, right? You will get it. It depends on who will wait for it. Are you going to wait for it, or are you not going to be able to control your fingers, right? It's up to you, right? So you will get this retest at some point of this 98, 96 demand. It will happen, it will come in, and it will be a great long at some point. Up to you to decide whether you can wait for it, right? So I personally will not look at Roku again until I get this alert right here. At or below 98, I'm going to go 98.50, and I'm not going to look at Roku again until that alert comes up. 98.50, I will simply wait for that to happen, and once it does, I will look to see if this provides a long off a retest, right? And that's it. Shop, the last one I'm going to go over. Actually, I'm going to go over Shop and Netflix here. Here's Shop. You guys can see what level did we talk about yesterday. We talked about that weekly 74 supply, right? We talked about the weekly 74 supply. Well, what happened yesterday, right? We pushed into 74. We rejected it, and you can see this morning, big rejection of it. So, are we longing Shop at 74? No. We are not longing Shop at 74, right? Why would we do that? Okay? What do we need to see on Shop to potentially take a long? Well, you could try for the pullback longs, right? You can see right here, Shop is holding this pullback demand again. You could try for that. You could try for this long, right? Back at this 70, you could look for those longs off demand, or you could simply wait for this thing to break and hold above 74. That's what you're looking for. So I would not long Shop as it approaches 74. We talked about that long. We talked about that supply level yesterday. That is very apparent, right? And I would look for pullbacks as your opportunities here. You can see Shop's in a very nice uptrend. Every pullback has provided an opportunity to go long. That is what I would look for, right? 71, I'd look for 70. I'd look for some of these previous. I'd look for this little area here, right? What is this? This is 68.35. I'd look for that level right there, right? Because you have this previous low, this previous high, right? So I'd look for those pullbacks as long opportunities. I would not want to be long into 74, okay? All right, guys. Well, we can see right here, right? If you were a horned up bear into 15,940, what happened to you this morning already, right? If you took some or if you took some NASDAQ future shorts at demand lows, you just lost about 100 points, right? No, you lost about 35, 40 points, right? So we're not doing that, right? We can clearly see that now, right? We are not shorting into this green zone. Look at what just happened. Same exact thing on the ES, I'm sure, as we traded lower, right? As we approach this demand, we're starting to get some dance in the middle of this channel, but it's very apparent, right? It is very apparent now that we are not short into 15,940. We are not long into 16,013. We can see the channel that has now provided us some information, right? Very clear. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. If you guys could help me get to 1,000 likes, we're having a pretty tough time. Get to 1,000 likes again. We need to get the momentum back here. We need to get the momentum back on the live stream. If you guys could, press that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Help me continue to grow. Help me continue to keep the channel alive. that's going to be up to you guys to help me out, man. It's up to you, right? This is all your guys' support. So I appreciate that. Press that like button if you enjoy the live streams, if it helps you every morning, if it helps you continue to trade and find the proper levels. Yeah, I said I'd go over Netflix, so I'm going to go over that real quick. Just here's what really Netflix is pretty easy, guys, right? Very clear. Demand, supply. 477 demand, 483 supply. Just a very clear channel. Very clear channel. Really not much that you guys can't see there, right? All right, guys. I hope you have a fantastic trading day. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.